you guys ever wished that people listen to you the way they listen to billionaires, and not because of money, but because of the way you speak? The words you choose, the confidence you deliver, and the structure that makes every sound important. That's why I'm recording this video, because I want ambitious people like you to be heard internationally, to inspire others with your ideas and to compete with anyone, natives or non-natives. And if YouTube is showing you this video, it means you are ambitious. You already have ideas, you just need the tools to make your words carry further. The channel is especially for non-native English founders, managers, and professionals who want to succeed globally, land great jobs, build credibility, and do business with confidence. But more and more I see native speakers here too, because they also want to learn how to structure the ideas so they resonate instead of pushing people away for various reasons. Now, who the hell am I to guide you and speak to you like that? Well, I don't want to read out loud my whole resume because it's long, deep, and it will take too much time to recite here, and one line wouldn't capture it all. That's why I've linked my LinkedIn below, but suffice it to say, the short version, I spent 16 years helping ambitious people master English for success, for impact, and I hold the Cambridge Delta diploma in methodology. So yeah, I kind of have an idea how to help you speak in a way that projects confidence and authority. And today we will immerse ourselves in the language of billionaires. We will break down the words, the delivery, and the mindset so you can adopt them for yourself. Because if you can learn to think and sound like a billionaire, even just a little, it will change the way people see you. For this series, I don't just pick billionaires at random. I choose very carefully from the Forbes list, from rising founders, from self-made millionaires and billionaires who build successful tech startups. Why? Because I want us to learn from people who actually created value for the world. I don't have much respect, unfortunately, for the inherited wealth or for those who use violence to get ahead. But I deeply respect builders, people who started from nothing, solved big problems, meaningful problems, and changed how millions of us live and work, for example, as YouTube did, right? That's the spirit we are learning from together. And today's example is Stanislav Vishnevsky, the co-founder and CTO of Discord. Do you know Discord, guys? It's one of the world's leading social platforms, originally for gamers, for gaming community to socialize, but now not only. For example, I use Discord to connect with alumni of the company I used to work for, Yandex. Have you heard about it? Alright, so Stanislav is also the son of immigrants, and that matters. As a first-generation immigrant myself, I know that, it's not easy. There are some challenges. And even though being second generation is, I would assume, a bit easier, I would assume because I have an opinion one, I can guess, it's still far from a free ride. So here's the plan. We will take a 3-minute segment of Stanislav's speech and break it down into 3 even smaller parts. And for each part, we will look at the meaning and the vibe, how billionaire frames and delivers ideas, the vocabulary and the phrases to express your thoughts, the expressions that you can start using, and the pronunciation, right? We will cover 4 areas of pronunciation that non-native speakers often confuse, and that will help you to push yourself further. Alright, you will walk away with at least 8 new phrases, clear pronunciation tips, and the experience of thinking, assuming the mindset of a billionaire, at least a tiny little bit. That's a good start. The first thing we'll explore today is impostor syndrome, because yes, even a billionaire CTO admits to feeling like a fraud sometimes. Alright, let's dive into the first clip from Stanislav's speech.
So, can you double click on the dissonance between like you viewing yourself as not very good at leading, but your coach, who's objectively a pretty good measuring stick of quality of leadership, telling you you're great?
I'll just kind of I'm pretty open about it. I have like deep imposter syndrome, like many people, I think, in these type of roles, especially people in engineering. Like I'm always like, how am I here? Like, how did I get here? Like, why? Like, I don't know.
How are these people working for me?
Yeah, like I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Like this person clearly has more experience than me. Like, why should I just do what they say? And I always like doubt myself.
Yeah.
I am like my worst critic, and honestly, a lot of people I've hired are very similar. They're their own worst critics.
Yeah.
So I just always assume I'm not doing good enough, and that's something I have to always contend with, and like really be good at celebrating, not just for myself, but also when giving positive reaffirmation for team members as they're doing it.
Wow. Impostor syndrome. Who would have thought? Quick reality check. Discord had 250 million active users last year in 2024 and almost $900 million in revenue. You can imagine Stanislav's net worth, and yet here is Stanislav openly saying he still feels like a fraud. What does that tell us? It tells us imposter syndrome has nothing to do with actual real achievements. It's not about the next milestone or promotion. It's about the voices in your head. Here is the empowering part. You actually have a choice. You can decide whether to listen to those voices or not. Think of it like a training muscle. At first, you manage to disconnect the toxic voices in your head for 1 minute, then 10, then an hour, and maybe a whole day. There will inevitably be step backs. You will slip back into your old patterns. Everyone does, even billionaires. But every time you catch yourself, you get stronger. So if you've ever thought, who am I to start this? Who am I to lead the team? Who am I to apply to work abroad, start business in the US? Congratulations, you are in the same club as the CTO of Discord. Well done. Now let's double click on some of the language he uses. Vocabulary highlights and pronunciation focus. Vocabulary highlights. 4 phrases. Double click on something to look closely, like on your computer, you double click. It's funny how language is evolving and you see new words incorporated into it while you're sleeping. Dissonance between X and Y, a conflict or a mismatch. I think you know this word if you come from a country with a European, Germanic, Romanic language, because the root is kind of similar. Dissonance. Please type in comments. Do you use the same word in your language or no? 3. A solid measuring stick. That's my favorite. It's a benchmark for comparison. Imagine you put a stick in the deep water to measure the depth. I'm now in central Vietnam amidst a heavy raining season, so probably I will start using solid measuring sticks before venturing out. Now there's just a downpour. And 4. To contend with. To deal with something, with some shit, right? Or something crappy. Now, before we go to the next mini episode, pronunciation focus. Just 2 quick things. Reinforcement. Can you hear the sound? Reinforcement. It's not just E, it's not E. It's like double E but merged together. That's a diphthong. Reinforcement. Pay attention to that, especially if your first language, native language, doesn't use these kind of vowel sounds that are a merge of 2. There is a border, there is a boundary, but it's not that clear. Reinforcement. And then honestly. Please do not say honestly, honestly. H, her is literally not pronounced. It's just O, honestly. Not all first letters are pronounced. Alright, action step. This week, use just one of these phrases in your speech and you already sound more like a leader. Enjoy.
Do you think that feeling of imposter, do you think it's grown over time or do you think it's diminished over time? Like, do you think as you have successfully navigated the company into the point that it's in now, gives you more confidence, or do you think like, oh shit, the stakes are higher, therefore, to our earlier point? Yeah.
Sometimes, like I mentioned, the scale of what we're doing does not always set in because we're always just worried about.
It's almost like it's a defense mechanism. It can't.
Yeah, exactly. I'll actually call back the reason I'm more comfortable and is not because we're this large and working, is that I kind of put in the effort of trying to find counterfactuals to my mindset through my coach, through talking to people.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like talking to people, like how did you solve problem X? Like how did you, as you scaled your engineering team, how did you implement a performance program for like these are kind of, some people would argue boring things, but they're very critical when you're building the company. Talking to other leaders at companies you think are much more successful or much larger and have it cracked, and like realizing they're dealing with the same problems and maybe even solve them in ways that are subpar, and like actually giving them advice. That kind of makes it feel like, oh, okay, that's what I mean by counterfactual.
Here is Stanislav talking about being vulnerable and learning from others. Funny thing, many entry-level junior professionals actually are afraid to show weaknesses. They put on a mask to cover themselves, to be perfect. They think that asking for help makes them look small, but the growth mindset is the opposite. It's about being okay with not knowing, making mistakes, and reaching out to people who can help you. And here's a key point. Choose carefully who you reach out to. There are coaches who make a living without ever achieving results themselves. They may want to keep you as a client forever. Instead, look for people who are too busy to coach you, because they've already achieved real results and they are the people worth learning from. And let me pause here just to say, if you're watching this video, you already have that growth mindset, you are investing in yourself. That's the strength. Now let's look at the language points, vocabulary and pronunciation. Vocabulary. Anxious overachiever, someone who pushes harder out of fear that it's never enough, right? You achieve more, overachieve, because you're driven by anxiety. You are anxious, something bad will happen if you stop. Trust your gut, trust your intuition. In English, intuition lives in the stomach, not the heart. Gut is that part that connects your stomach and pushes the shit out of your body. Fascinating, isn't it? Where does the intuition live in your language and culture? In the gut or somewhere else? As for pronunciation, focus on the word anonymous. Like me, I'm kind of anonymous. I'm not revealing my face, my name fully. You can still browse in the channel, of course. Well, if you submit information anonymously, people are not supposed to know your identity. Here, the pronunciation focus is on word stress. Anonymous. The stress is on the second syllable, or anonymous. And that's important when you learn new words, to figure out when the stress falls, not to say anonymous, anonymous, and so on and so forth. Just anonymous, 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 anonymous. Hopefully this right pronunciation will stick with you forever after watching this. Forever and ever and never apart. And now to the final clip.
Another way of saying it is like the anxious overachiever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, where you're anxious about overachieving.
Yeah. I've actually found like the only way to really solve this is like obviously getting like anonymous feedback via my coach, but also just going and talking to other leaders to really understand like what they're dealing with, and like realizing, oh, I handled this situation this way and actually went really well. Like I actually might know what I'm doing. Like I should trust my gut more. And just going, talking and sharing stories with people has like really helped me personally be like, have more confidence, and like my intuition is right. I am doing a good job.
That was the final clip. Let's deconstruct. And at the end, I will give you a takeaway that you can start using already now to make that one step closer to your future billionaire self. Here is the theme for the final clip is belief, right? Taking yourself out of your thought bubble and really trusting what you do. Sometimes we repeat affirmations for years before they finally sink into your gut. But once they do, once belief becomes part of you, your whole communication changes. So take time, even if it doesn't snap. Vocabulary highlights, counterfactual, an idea that goes against reality, a what-if scenario. Like when you look for counterfactuals to your mindset, to your negativity mindset, you go against the reality as you were used to it for many years, right? If you think I'm a failure, you find the counterfactuals, the cases where you have won. You may have heard it all before, but there's a difference between hearing and actually starting doing it. And I hope this video to be that tipping point that shifts from just knowing to actions, my dear lovely viewers, to really to actions. So counterfactuals to negativity mindset. That's the vocabulary I want you to walk away with. As for pronunciation, we focus on mechanism, and here the CH letters are pronounced as K sound, not Ch. Because I think if you are a non-native, you are used to pronouncing CH as Ch, as in chair. But pay attention, there is another widespread pattern of pronouncing CH as K, mechanism, 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 not mechanism. Let's recap. From Stanislav's speech, you have learned how billionaires talk openly about challenges like impostor syndrome, how they use powerful phrases, double click, solid measuring stick, trust your gut, and how small pronunciation shifts in dropping the first consonant H, pronouncing your diphthongs, reinforcement, putting the stress on the right syllable as an anonymous, in pronouncing consonant clusters correctly as K and mechanism, they all make your English sound smoother and more natural, honestly. Here is my praise for you. You made it all the way to the end, and this shows commitment, and that shows growth mindset. Now it's your turn. Which phrase or pronunciation point do you want to practice first? Let me know. I'm curious. Drop it in comments. And tell me, Which successful person's speech should I analyze next? Also, I invite you to my Telegram channel where I share high quality English input every day, except Sundays. Videos like this take time and effort, and honestly, I'm still self-conscious about many things, not having a great camera, not having a proper desk. But with Telegram it's different. I feel very confident there, and I post quick and valuable content daily. Join me there. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep sounding more like a billionaire.